Good evening, friends. I welcome all of you for this 15th knowledge sharing webinar of corporate professional on CSR. Friends, as you are aware that today's session is on corporate social responsibility and recent changes. I'm overwhelmed to receive the response. Today we got 1,165 registration. It is very encouraging. Thanks all participants for encouraging us to do more and more interesting webinar. Today's program is very interesting on this aspects. Today we are covering 360-degree of CSR. What is today, what is coming in future, and what are the issues in CSR, and what are the solutions to implement this. We have invited Mr. S. Sudhakar from Reliance. He will share his experience because Reliance is the highest spending company in India on CSR. We have Ankit Singhi, who is a partner in corporate professional, who will share about the entire aspects of CSR law. Friends, we have also invited today Gyanesha Singh sir, Joint Secretary, who looks after CSR. Because CSR Amendment Rules 2020 and the Companies Amendment Act 2019 was not notified and was not finalized. Because this CSR Amendment Rules 2020 was very important for decriminalization of the CSR violations and various other important aspects which was there, that trust and society can't be do this, and Section 8 companies should be there to spend on CSR amount. Because there was so much representation from the industry side and the trust and society side, the government has yet to pass the notify or pass through ordinance this particular CSR amendment rules. But Mr. Gyanesha Singh has promised us that when this ordinance will come or the rules will notified, he will come and attend our program. And because at present it is not finalized, that's why some technical issue. We are sorry for this, but we will not disappoint you because his blessings are with us, and he's also looking seeing our webinar today. So whatever suggestion, whatever questions we will receive, we will pass on to the secretary, joint secretary, and take his advice how this can be modified. Friends, this CSR concept, I'm from beginning, I'm always supporting this. As you are aware, the Milton Friedman gave the first time the theory of shareholders, that in the company everything is shareholder, you have to follow. But in 1995, first time Gandhi Foundation has started social responsibility on business. In 2009, the voluntary guidelines on the social responsibility came first time by ministry, and then 2011 environment and social impact report has come from the government Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and first time in 2012 100 listed company was made responsible to report business responsibility report. So this was the first background which has come. Now if you see that what is this social responsibility, Ankit, just share the presentation. Yeah. So the concept of social responsibility we must understand.
Is it visible?
Yeah, visible. Next. So the concept of CSR is not new in India. Concept of charity deeply ingrained in Indian ethos. If you go back and see and talk to your grandfather and father, you will realize there was a concept of dharmada in Indian business, and this dharmada account was there in every business. Whatever you are earning, one portion they will donating in dharmada account, and that was across India without seeing the size and length and breadth of the country. Everybody was following who is doing business and who is earning money, and who is even not earning money. One portion they were putting for dharmada account. This dharmada is nothing but is in present format is a CSR. This strong tradition of charity or spending on public goods prevalent in all religions and communities in India. It is not only that we can say that in India, the Dharmadaya account in various in the Parsis community, in the Mohammedan community, and in the Jain community, everybody was giving in different format under Dharmadaya account. CSR is very important and progressive concept for socio-economic development, and now it is made law. So initially people were opposing this. They were saying this should not be compulsory. But if you see the background of CSR, then you will realize that in the Companies Act, when the company bill introduced, there was no proposal. First time it was suggestion came when the Parliament Department Related Standing Committee has discussed this issue and they introduced the CSR concept. The then Secretary MC agreed to include a proposal requiring certain companies to constitute CSR committee and spend 2% on profit on CSR. The proposal and later on passed by Parliament was based on the company based on the principle comply or explain. So you have to spend and explain. If you're not spending, just to explain why you're not spending. Later on, thinking has taken U-turn and Companies Amendment Act 2019 made CSR spending compulsory. Now, this was the background which has taken place. And now CSR law has come and so many changes. If you see the overview of the CSR expenditure by companies in India, you will find very interesting scenario. 2014-15, 16,000 companies were the total company that were eligible for 5 crore profit, 100 crore turnover, and 500 crore net worth. It was 16,000 companies. And then today in 18-19, it is 24,000. The companies are increasing. So turnover wise, profit wise, and the net worth wise, they are increasing, and the number has reached to 24,000. But the interesting point is the percentage of company which are compliant, that is a very poor 63, 71, 67, 54. And if you see this in 2014, the total amount was 17,141 crore rupees they have to spend. Now, which has increased in 17-18, 23,248. Remaining figure has not finalized. And then how much company has spent, that is also a very interesting fact. Only 59% in 14-15, 85% in 15-16, 72% in 57%. So the number is increasing, amount is increasing, but the expenditure is reducing. So they are eligible to do this, but their percentage is less than 60%. So this is as per CSR portal of Government of India. And if you see how these states are spending, then Maharashtra, Karnataka, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu are leading. They are the top 5 states, and their amount is also, if you calculate 14-15 to 18-19, 11,000 crore Maharashtra has spent. This is the amount they have done. So 15% Maharashtra is the highest, then Karnataka 5, and then Gujarat 5, and Andhra 5. They are doing Tamil Nadu 4%. So this is the total state spending money on this. Then come to the part that in which area they are spending money. So that is also very interesting. Highest amount is because as per schedule, there is a list that you have to spend money on the various things. So education and differently abled livelihood is the highest number of amount spent till today, that is 37%, 26,000 crore. Health 19,000, rural development 7,000, environment 6,000 crore, and some is not mentioned, but small amount. Then gender equality, women power 2,000, any other fund 1,900, Prime Minister Relief Fund 1,000, heritage art culture 1,000, Swachh Bharat, then encouraging sports 900 crore, slum area another sector, and the Clean Ganga project. The people have spent money on this. Total corporate has spent in following heads, which are a part of the schedule. If you see the 5 top companies which has spent money on this, then you will see, okay, next. You'll see the Reliance Industry is topping is, they have spent till the time 9,282 crore rupees on CSR. If you see the second number company is ONGC, that is 2,478, and then TCS 1,700, 1,500, and 1,300 Infosys. So you can realize the whatever Reliance has spent, all next 4 companies are together, they are not meeting the Reliance expenditure. Reliance is far ahead in this. And interestingly, we have invited Sudhakar today, that he will share that what is the philosophy Reliance is doing, how they are doing, and what are the things. And this is one analysis I have given to you, that the way the things happening. Friends, today when we will discuss the CSR, the entire aspects of CSR, you will find that why this concept, what is the law, what are the issues in the law, what are the government is planning, what is the in the company's amendment bill 2019, what they are proposing in CSR, because they're talking about the criminalization of the non-spending of CSR. Then the amendment which the CSR rules 2020 their government has proposed, because of Corona it has not passed because of certain issues. So all these things are pending. So if you see this, the all questions, all aspects, all expenditure, all things, all example, the Ankit will share with you. And you will realize that each and every aspect relating to CSR, we will discuss with you. And after that, Sudhakar will discuss about the CSR, and then I will give some suggestions which are very, very important on the basis of this. And then we will have question answer. We have already received 20-25 questions from all. We will give all answers which we are receiving. And then in the meantime, anybody has any question, they can send it to us. We will reply all your questions. And now after this, I will request Ankit Singhi to give his presentation on the legal aspects and all queries which he can cover, which we have received in his presentation as per this. Over to you, Ankit.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. So while Mr. Vijay has just covered a background on the CSR provisions and has thrown some light on how the companies are spending and how much amount has been spent since the inception of this concept. So while the concept is around 5 years old and a lot of things are already clear, so in today's presentation we'll touch upon the key aspects of CSR and we'll discuss some issues which are still not clear on those aspects. And then the major focus of this presentation will be on the proposed changes, because the changes are such which are proposed to change the entire landscape of CSR provisions, and they wish to change the principle behind the concept of CSR, which was envisaged as comply or explain to mandatory compliance. So starting with, so the eligibility is already clear. The company is net worth of 500 crore turnover net profit. The only change is, as opposed to previous 3 years, now the requirement has been brought down to just immediately preceding financial year. So you need to only check this eligibility immediately preceding financial year, and if that is applicable, you need to undertake that expenditure. There is an important question while that whether Section 8 companies are also covered. So fundamentally, there is no such exemption to Section 8 companies. Even the exemptions under Section 462 have not given any exemption to Section 8 companies. And per se, the provision of Act 135 is applicable on such companies. But there is a fundamental question in that whether these companies should be asked to incur CSR expenditure when their primary objective is actually to do community promotion of science, community social related work. But there are it cannot be said for all the Section 8 companies. Like there are a lot of Section 8 companies which are in form of clubs, like Delhi Gymkhana Club, or there are a lot of clubs which are for recreational purposes for their members, and they per se are not into any social kind of work. So if any other company is required to do CSR expenditure, why not such companies which actually are not promoting and promoting any kind of a social purpose except for recreational of members, like in case of clubs? Then while the section uses the word company, the rule extends the provision of the Act section to foreign companies, specifically for branch offices and project office. and there is a specific power under section 384 which empowers government to apply the provisions of the act to foreign companies, and under that section government has amended and introduced the right to apply the provisions of section 135 on such companies. So the applicability power of government is coming from that section itself, even in spite of the fact that only word company is used under section 135. And the important question is that only branch and project offices are covered for the very fact that license offices are not engaged into income generation activities. They are only act as a license office. So therefore, there is no generation of income. So that is why they are not subject to such provisions. So qualified CSR activities, the Schedule 7 very well clarifies what kind of activities should be undertaken. In last few years, government has tried to give a lot of clarifications on various kind of activities. One of the important clarification or that has been amendment is made in the section itself, where it says that the section 8 activities are broad activities. So your activities in substance should be based on the topics which are covered in the Schedule 7 activities, but it is not necessary that it, every sense it should be based on that. Broadly, it should cover or touch upon the subjects which are covered in the Schedule 7. Then even the FAQs which were released by MCA have provided for a liberal interpretation. So this FAQ actually empowers you to interpret the applicability of Schedule 7 or the subject areas which are mentioned there in the widest sense possible. Because when you say you have to interpret it liberally, so liberally gives you the sense to have a broad-based view and not to think on a narrow lines. Then important is what is not qualifying as a CSR activity, because Schedule 7 covers activity which can be covered as a part of CSR, but what is important is what would not qualify as CSR. So first and foremost is the companies which undertake the activities for the benefit of employees or their families, like distributing medicine or food to employees, reimbursement of school fees of their children, or healthcare facility of their employees. So where the primary and the sole target of the program is to benefit the employees of the company or their families, such activity will not qualify for CSR. Then any contribution to political party will not qualify for CSR. Then another important subject, which is an exemption exception to the possible and allowed activities, is activities which are undertaken by a company in course of its normal course of business. So apart from all other activities which are in the negative list, and this activity is very subjective, because the word used in normal course of business, and per se normal course of business is neither defined under the Act nor CSR rules. So if you see Black's Law Dictionary, it says ordinary courses, ordinary business, normal routine, things which are customary as a part of the business, regularly done in the course of the business. So in similar terms as right for the legal meaning, normal course of business shall mean things which are done in routine nature or which are arising out of customs and trade associated with a business. So in context of CSR, normal course of business would mean any activity which is undertaken by a company regularly to will constitute CSR, but following factors should be undertaken: that it should conform to CSR policy and Schedule 7, and foremost objective is that it should not be undertaken with intention to make profit. In this regard, there is a very important case, Muhammad Ahmed versus Union of India, where government of India has filed an affidavit in respect of case, and where they have confirmed whether a pharmaceutical company who distributes medicines for free, whether that distribution will be taken as a part of the ordinary course of business or not. So where they have held that distributing of medicines by a pharmaceutical company for free is something which is not associated with its general course of a business. So a company who is into a commercial business will never distribute its products free of cost. So that is something which is not being done in the normal course of business. So therefore, it is something which is allowed under the CSR as a part of the activity related to healthcare, and this would definitely will qualify for CSR. So in case of any activity where you are considering and where you are confused whether that activity will form in the ordinary course of the business, you need to be sure on the both criteria as I mentioned above. The activity should be falling under one of the objects mentioned in the Schedule 7, and that activity should not be giving you any profit. So I give you an example. For example, I am running a coaching center and I charge normal students 1,000 rupees. and I charge students from weaker section 900 rupees. I'm still making a profit. I'm just giving a discount of 10%. This activity will not be allowed as my normal course of business is giving coaching, and I am still making profit out of that activity. Yeah, but if I start giving coaching for free to the weaker section students, then it will definitely be forming part of the CSR activity, because giving free education by a company which is engaged into running coaching centers is not a thing which is generally done in the course of the business, except in case of a scholarship, which is a totally different concept. Then another important is activities undertaken outside India. So any activity which is undertaken outside India is not considered. See, there is only one thing. What if the beneficiary is Indian resident? For example, if you are giving a scholarship to an Indian student to go outside India and study there, whether this will not be counted towards CSR. I think by disallowing activities undertaking outside India, somewhere the intent is that even the CSR expenditure should only be undertaken in India. So both the beneficiary and the amount spent should be on a subject in India. The amount should also be not going outside India. That is why they have tried to block even activities carried outside India for the purpose of CSR, even if the beneficiary is an Indian resident. Then, as per the FAQs, events such as marathon, awards, charitable contributions, sponsorship of TV programs are outside the purview of CSR expenditure. But in case you wish to do a sponsorship, or if you want to run an award, and I think if you can plan it as a project that you launch an award, and every year you give awards to meritorious students, or you give awards to sports person who have achieved something, and you create this as a program and in a project, and you plan it, and that it spreads across 2-3 years, I don't think then it will be qualifying as a one-off an event, because then it is a part of a project that you intend to carry out throughout a period of 2 or 3 years. So even only when you for example, you give an award for once, or you just sponsor an award function for once, the intention is to not to cover such events. Then as per the FAQs issued by MCA, then if you are meeting certain expenditure on account of statutory obligations under certain act, then also that expenditure would not qualify for CSR. Contribution to Chief Minister's Relief Fund, while the FAQs deny such contribution to Chief Minister's Relief Fund as a disallowed expenditure, I don't see any reason why such contribution should not be allowed. Considering in past government has issued various FAQs where they have mentioned that in case of relief related work, for flood relief and other aspects, you can contribute to such funds. So I don't know why government has recently changed its stand and disallowed such an expenditure, because if we have to interpret the activities in a liberal sense, and the purpose of contribution to this fund is to achieve the social benefit or for the common man, I don't see why this contribution should not be considered. But as per the FAQs issued by, the contribution is not included for the purpose of calculation of CSR expenditure. Then another important is the locality concept. The locality concept was actually basically, because I was engaged in the rule making process, the was initially thought of for basically for manufacturing companies, because they should be first, the priority should be to develop the areas nearby their manufacturing concerns. So that is why this preference was created. But in case of any company, even for a manufacturing or a service sector, first priority should be to undertake the expenditure in the areas which are nearby. But that doesn't prohibit you to undertake expenditure anywhere else apart from beyond that limits of your city. Then CSR expenditure. So 2% CSR expenditure needs to be taken every year. If you are eligible, basis your eligibility during last preceding financial year, then out of the net profits of last 3 financial years, you need to undertake the CSR expenditure in the current financial year. So in case your average net profit is negative, no CSR expenditure needs to be taken. In case you are transferring CSR funds to a trust or Section 8 or a society, then as per FAQs, it will deem to be that you have met your CSR expenditure. Creating provision in books, you are just creating provision in your book that you will do the CSR expenditure next year, and you are not doing any expenditure during the current financial year, will not amount to meeting the CSR expenditure, and it will be treated as that you have not spent the amount. Then net profits, for the purpose of CSR, net profits are required for two purposes. I think one purpose is for determining the eligibility, and second purpose is for calculating the amount of CSR expenditure. Before the Companies Act Amendment Act 2019, there was still some confusion as to which, while the net profit for the purpose of calculating CSR expenditure, it is to some extent clear, but it was not clear whether the eligibility for what eligibility net profit, how it is to be calculated. Then there were some adjustments which are given in the rules, whether those adjustments were required to be considered or not. So the Amendment Act clarified this, and they mentioned that for the purpose of net profit, anywhere which is used in section 135, it will be calculated in accordance with section 198, and then adjustment will be made as provided in the rules. So 198 provides you the list of items which are eligible for credit and debit for calculating net profits. You are already calculating net profits under section 198 for managerial remuneration. Once you are done, while you calculate the net profits under section 198, you have also need to make following adjustments. So if you are having any profit from any overseas branch, that profit will be deducted. And you are receiving any dividend from any other company which is itself complying with CSR provision under section 135, then that dividend will also be excluded for the purpose of calculating the income. Some issues connected with CSR expenditure. So whether a company is required to undertake CSR expenditure if in its existence for last 3 years, less than 3 years, then yes, it is required. If there is losses during last 3 previous years, as I mentioned, negative amount, loan, nothing needs to be done. If during the financial year in which the amount is required to be undertaken, the company is in loss, but for last 3 financial year, the company is in profit, then you need to undertake the CSR expenditure even if you are having losses during the financial year. What if I want to incur expenditure beyond 2%? You can undertake expenditure beyond 2%, but in case you are incurring any expenditure beyond 5% and that attracts the eligibility for section 181, then you will also require to obtain the approval of the shareholders. Whether a company can carry forward its CSR expenditure, you can as per your own wish, but that doesn't fulfill the requirement of the expenditure during the current year. Whether company can carry forward excess CSR expenditure during a financial year to the next financial year, as on date it is not allowed, but as per the proposals, it is proposed that this carry forward will be allowed. Failure to incur CSR expenditure, you have to give the reasons in the board report. If you are not disclosing the reason, then there is a default. One important thing needs to be taken care. In case you are not disclosing the reasons in the board report for for failure to incur CSR expenditure, the provisions of section 134 with respect to disclosures in board report, the penal provisions of that section will trigger, and not the residuary provisions of section 135. We have filed various applications with regional directors, and they have been compounding such defaults by compounding the penal provisions as provided under section 135. So the residuary provisions will not be called for. The penal provisions as provided under section 134, in case of failure to disclose in the board report, the penal provisions of section 134 will be attracted. One important thing is that we have been working for some clients which have received MCA notices for information on reasons why they have not shared the CSR expenditure. And one of the significant problem that we foresee in such clients, that while they have to some extent intentionally not undertaken that expenditure, but during the course of the financial year, even the CSR committee and board has not discussed anything about any efforts that needs to be made for undertaking that expenditure. So it is very necessary, because in case MCA comes to you and asks you for the reason, while any other reason is, you can give a lot of other reasons, but it is very important that the CSR committee and board have also evaluated and deliberated on the reasons, and they have evaluated opportunities for CSR activities and have taken a considerate call that these activities are not, we should not be undertaking for these activities. we should explore more such efforts for finding a suitable CSR activities. Because if you have not discussed anything during the course of year, and that at the end of the year you just give a reason in the board report that you don't find any suitable activity for undertaking CSR expenditure, which a lot of companies are doing, then it will going to be a troublesome position for you, because your documents will not justify the reasons that are mentioned in the report. Implementation of the CSR policy. This topic, why we have covered this topic, because if you see in all the annual report on the CSR, implementation of CSR is a confirmation which all the committees give. The head of the chairman of the committee gives a declaration in the annual report that the CSR policy has been implemented. And if you see, the CSR policy talks about undertaking of CSR expenditure on CSR activities, implementation of CSR activities, and monitoring of the CSR activities. So if I am giving a statement in my CSR or annual report that the CSR policy has been implemented, then we have to make sure that we have in spirit implemented the provisions of CSR policy, like whether the expenditure is undertaking on areas and subjects specified in CSR policy. For example, your CSR policy covers specific objects, but you are undertaking expenditure on some other objects without any call in the board of CSR. Whether the activity which has been, the amount which has been spent is being monitored, that expenditure is being properly utilized or not. Are we supervising the activity? Because in case of failure to incur CSR expenditure, as I mentioned, MCA has been sending notices. And a question can arise on the members of the committee that while you were not doing anything on the CSR, neither deliberating on incurring expenditure, how you can give a confirmation at the end of the year that you have complied with the CSR policy. So that is very important, that while you give that in confirmation in your annual reports, it should be justified with the action on the part of the CSR committee. Then tax expenditure very clearly says you cannot claim business expenditure, CSR as a business expenditure. Yes, there are certain expenditures which are allowed under section 30 to 36. If CSR is on some of those activities, it can still be claimed. Apart from this, there are certain tax reliefs which are available. For example, if you are spending amount on PM Care Fund, PF Relief Fund, or undertaking CSR expenditure on research and scientific activities or skill development, there are specific tax incentives that are available, and as per the Income Tax Act, a company can avail those tax incentives if you're spending CSR amount on those avenues. Manner of undertaking CSR activity, section 8 company trust, it can be created by the company individually in collaboration with any other company. It can be a section 8 or trust which is created by a government under an act of parliament, or a society under an act of parliament. In case the company can also undertake the CSR activities directly. I think the difference between undertaking CSR activity directly and through such organization is that when you undertake the CSR activities directly, you yourself are responsible for planning and executing. Though you can take help of a lot of agencies to actually implement the CSR activities, but in case of where you're doing it through a section 8 company or a trust or a society, then in most of the cases the planning and execution is totally up to in the hand of these organizations. Then there are, if for a certain society or section 8 company or trust, if they are not set up by the company or by under a government act, you still can undertake CSR activities through such trust. But the only requirement is that they should have a track record of 3 years in undertaking similar programs, and company should specify the modalities and reporting mechanism of such programs. So in case the company is setting up a trust section 8 society, make sure that company is the author of trust or a member of section 8 or society. There is a confusion that in case of a trust, whether the directors of the company can only be trustee. So anyone can be a trustee of such trust, if the directors of the company and any other person which the company finds suitable. Even if you are forming a trust, section society or section 8 company for undertaking your CSR expenditure, you can still engage other NGOs to carry out the CSR activities as a part of the implementing agency. Further, for the purpose of determining if a third party CSR if you want to undertake trust or society or Section 8 as a third party entity, not of your or not or any act, there is a requirement of that such entity should be carrying similar activities. So we need to undertake that. Similar and same are two different words. Same means identical, similar means in a similar sense, not exactly identical. So a broader view has to be taken. So for example, a trust who is undertaking academic classes for poor students for a long period of time can also undertake projects for vocational skills. So they are not exactly same, but they are similar because they are related to education and skill development. Then you can undertake CSR activities with collaborating with other companies, then by trust, through planning, executing, and by jointly contributing to a common trust if you want to collaborate with other companies. In case of a trust, registration is not mandatory, where income tax is required. If you are registered under that trust income tax act, then you are still eligible. Another important is the administrative overheads. These sections, the rules provide that expenditure on building CSR capabilities and towards overhead shall not exceed 5%. So what are administrative overheads? So if you see the cost accounting standard on administrative overheads, it says the general cost of management and administration of organization like employee cost, shared service cost, office supplies cost, legal cost. These are treated as an administrative cost. So like for example, if you identify and implementing a partner, cost of identification, examining CSR proposals, hiring of monitoring agencies, or if you have created any CSR team, the employee cost of that CSR team, they can still be considered within the part of the administrative overhead. But any expenditure which is directly connected with the CSR activity shall form part of the CSR expenditure. So for example, if you employ a teacher to give tuitions to EWS students, then the salary of that teacher will not be an administrative expense. That would be actually part of the CSR expenditure. So overhead are indirect expenditures. Direct expenditures are part of the CSR. Now there are some amendments, amendments which have been proposed by the Amendment Act 2019, which have not been enforced and which try to change the landscape of CSR. So the original principle behind CSR provisions was to comply, either you incur the CSR expenditure or you explain. Now the provisions which have been introduced by the Amendment Act 2019 have tried to change that concept from comply or explain to comply only. The provision inserted actually provides for mandatory expenditure in one way or another. Either you expend or you transfer to a fund. So they've tried to classify the unspent amount in two categories. One is related to an ongoing project, and other is otherwise, which is not related to an ongoing project. I will discuss the ongoing project later. So, for example, if you are not doing any project during the year, and for last so many years you are just mentioning some or other reason, and you're not incurring any CSR expenditure. So, once this provision is made effective, and if you're not undertaking any CSR expenditure and you have undertaken some CSR expenditures on some activities which have been completed, but there are still some amount left, then as soon as the year closed, you have to mandatorily transfer that amount within 6 months to a fund which has been specified under the Schedule 7. So in case you're not incurring any expenditure, or you are incurring expenditure but amount remains unspent and that is not related to any project, then you have to mandatorily transfer that amount to a fund specified by the government under Schedule 7 within a period of 6 months of the close of the financial year. So in one way or another, you have to spend the amount. So better to spend the amount at your own. Then if you are undertaking any ongoing project, so let me go to ongoing project. What does ongoing project means? So as per the rules, ongoing project means a multi-year project undertaken by a company. A multi-year project means a project spanning across more than 1 year. The timelines does not exceed 3 years, excluding the financial year in it was commenced. So in total, you can take it can extend to around 4 years. And project which was earlier initially approved for 1 year, but then it has been extended beyond the year based on a reasonable justification, then such projects will be treated as an ongoing project. So if you are undertaking any ongoing project, for example, you are undertaking to build any hospital, and that would take 3 years. So at the end of the every year, if the portion year marked, if you, for example, if you have identified that 150 crores rupees will be spent during 3 years in building an hospital, and each year 50 year has been unmarked basis a provision, If out of 50 years during the first year you have only spent 30 crores, out the remaining 20 crores need to be transferred in a separate account that you will be opening for that particular financial year. And then once you transfer that amount in that financial year into that particular account, you have to use that amount for next 3 financial years to complete the project. So a project, for example, of a hospital which is spanning across 3 years, every year you have earmarked 50 crore rupees. So the amount which remains unspent goes to a unspent account at the end of the year, and from that unspent amount you have to use that for construction of the hospital that needs to be spent within the period of next 3 years. It needs to be taken care as per the provisions. The account has to be opened for each financial year separately. So if there are 3 years for a hospital project, during the course of time you may have 3 financial year bank accounts representing each financial year. If after the period of 3 years the company is still not able to spend the entire amount, and the amount which is pending in the unspent CSR account, then the amount will be going to the fund specified in schedule 7. So up to 3 years of the transfer, you can still use that amount for the purpose of the CSR project. If even after transferring during the next 3 years you are not able to use it, as soon as the 3rd year expires, within 30 days you have to transfer the amount to a fund specified in schedule 7. Some of the key issues in ongoing project definition: project beyond 3 years are not recognized. That is a main issue. What about ongoing projects which are already there in pipeline and which extend beyond 3 years? What if project is delayed beyond 3 years? If it has been emphasized to be completed in 3 years, but it goes beyond 3-year deadline. So these are some of the issues I think which the rule making and rule makers will consider while coming up with a final definition. Then it also empowers the government to issue certain directions, gives a clarity that in case the company is not in existence for 3 years, is still required to calculate average net profits for the number of years of existence. Another important thing that it makes the failure to undertake expenditure explained in board report, or even transfer the fund to the specified earnest amount as a criminal offense. How company is provided a fine from 25,000, 50,000 to 25 lakh rupees. But for an officer in default, there is also a requirement of added imprisonment and also been added. While this is a compoundable offense, but still there is a sword of imprisonment hanging if this provision is notified. The Companies Amendment Bill 2020, which is there in the Parliament, makes further amendments to this section. First of all, it allows you to carry forward the higher unspent, higher excess spent amount to the next year. So if case your CSR application is 2 crores, you spent 3 crores. So excess can be taken out of adjusted in next year. So 1 crore can be taken. And if next year obligation is 5 crore, 1 crore is adjusted from this, you can extend 4 crore rupees. And then if your CSR expenditure is less than 50 lakh rupees, constitutional is optional. Then it seeks to revert the position. Instead of imprisonment and as a penalty, the fines are now linked with the amounts which are required to be spent. So new penal provisions provided twice the amount required to be transferred by the company to the fund specified in Schedule 7 on an unspent amount, or rupees 1 crore, whichever is less. So you have to spend that, transfer that amount, and officer will be liable for 1/10 of the amount required to be transferred. So even for the officers, the amount is based on the expenditure, penal amount. Then draft CSR rules are also in place, and that also tries to bring some new provisions under the CSR rules. So I'll just run through it. So it says that while employees are not considered, expenditure on employee related activities are not considered for CSR, but now rule provide that if the employees are out of total beneficiaries, the employee constitute not more than 25%, then that activity will still be treated as CSR. Ongoing project have already defined. One of the fundamental change that the rules try to bring in, I don't think it will pass through, that it says that now CSR expenditure can only be undertaken by a Section 8 company or entity established by a trust or under Act of Parliament or state legislature. It means trust, societies are completely out of the purview for the purpose of undertaking CSR expenditure. That will have a major, if it gets through, it will have a major impact, because 90% of the country's NGO sector is in form of trust and society, and most of the companies have either, all good companies have created their trust for the purpose of undertaking CSR expenditure. So all these plans needs to be reworked if this provision goes through. And every such entity is also required, if a Section 8 company will also required to register itself with the government before undertaking any CSR. Another important thing is the CFO and any other person are made responsible to give a certificate to the board with respect to the proper utilization of CSR expenditure. So they have to certify the amount which has been spent according to the program approved by the board and CSR committee. Then CSR committee is now also required to frame an annual action plan. So CSR policy is an overall policy, is a vision document. CSR annual action plan will be an action plan for the CSR expenditure to be undertaken in that year. What kind of activities to be undertaken in that year, how it will be implemented, how it will be monitored. This will be forming part of annual action plan. Then average companies which are required to undertake average spend of more than 5 crore rupees in 3 immediately preceding year also required to undertake impact assessment. So impact assessment, while it has been in use for a long period of time, but the rules now try to make it a reality and try to make it mandatory for the companies which 5 crores or more of expenditure, and force them to undertake an impact assessment. And for such companies, the administrative overhead has been increased, is proposed to increase from 5% to 10%. Another important thing is that any asset which is being created by the trust or Section 8 company for the purpose of CSR shall be owned by the Section 8 company itself. For example, a hospital or a school is being constructed, then the Section 8 company shall own that property and no other third party should own that property. Then on the lines of IPF, the government intends to establish a national CSR fund in which all the unspent CSR amount will be transferred during the course of the time, and then the government will spend the active amount as the part of on the CSR activities. So it will be on the lines of IPF. Till the time CSR fund will not be created, the funds which are specified under the schedule will be the funds where you have to transfer the amount. So primarily PM Cares Fund, Ganga Relief Fund, and Swachh Ganga Fund, and this Prime Minister's Relief Fund. Detailed reporting needs to be undertaken. Various tables have been introduced, and it seems that from the table that government will soon start registering the CSR projects, because the disclosure also carry a column for a project ID. So in future, you might also be required to undertake your CSR project and register with the government. I think I have summed up the basic overview of the CSR and the recent amendments. Over to you, sir.
Ankit. Thank you, Ankit.
Yeah, over to you.
Now I will request Sudhakar. Sudhakar is a vice chairman of Secretarial Standard Board also, and he's a chartered accountant and company secretary, and he's a part of the Reliance Group. Sudhakar will discuss his CSR by Reliance, because Reliance is the highest, the company which is spending the most amount by CSR. And the interesting part is they are not only spending the part of which is eligible, but they are accessing the more. In 18-19, they have excessively spent 38 crore rupees, and in 19-20, they have excessively increased from 875 to 34 crore extra, which was eligible. And the Reliance Industry has won so many awards: CSR Company of the Year, then Global CSR Excellence Award, prestigious Portal Awards of 2015 for outstanding contribution of society, first ICSI CSR Excellence Award, then India CSR Community Initiative Award, and then Mahatma Gandhi Award 19 under the category of excellence in CSR, other than various awards in the category of various sector. Now I will request Sudhakar to give his view that what are the CSR issues and the Reliance initiative in this. Over to Sudhakar.
Are you able to see my presentation?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. At the outset, my sincere thanks to corporate professionals and Pawan Vijay for inviting me to give you a bird's eye view of what Reliance is doing as far as CSR is concerned. Let me put a disclaimer that whatever the views I am expressing here are my own and not the organization in which I'm employed. At the same point of time, the information furnished is available in the public domain also. And for the sake of time constraint, I'm just because Ankit has already dealt with very exhaustively about CSR, so I'm going to skip certain things. But one thing that in the words of Ratan Tata, CSR is an extension of individual sense of social responsibility. Active participation in CSR projects is very important for a company. Just 1 minute, I'm going to adjust my screen, please. 1 minute. Yeah. So I'm not going to take this origin and all those things, but there are certain contentious issues are there which I would like to take up. Out of this also that Ankit has taken up 2-3 issues. So wherever Ankit has touched upon, I'm not going to take that. The CSR provisions are discriminatory towards certain forms of businesses. This I'm going to take up. Threshold of profit figure very meager for applicability of CSR provisions. Comply or explain approach to criminal consequences. Activities under normal course of business not considered as CSR. Taxability of CSR expenditure. The 4th and 5th already Ankit had touched upon, so I'm not going to deal with that. Why we say that they are discriminatory is that provisions of section 135 are applicable to only companies incorporated under the Companies Act. And if any company is incurring, it is earning a profit of say 5 crore rupees, that company has to undergo the drill of section 135. It has to form a CSR committee, it has to formulate a CSR policy, it has to spend 2% of their profits as CSR expenditure, and then you have to also give the report which is to be attached to the board's report. They have to completely undergo the drill. Whereas if it is a partnership firm or an LLP, they don't need to undergo this drill. That means just because the form of business is different, they are discriminated, which may be unjustified. This is what whenever I move in the professional fraternity or with some kind of small business firms, this is what the feedback normally I get it. Similarly, net profit is very meager. If you see section 135(1), it says that every company having a net worth of rupees 500 crore or more, turnover of rupees 1000 crore or more, and a net profit of rupees 5 crore or more, they have to spend blah, 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 and all those things. So if you see the net worth figure is 500 crores, turnover figures is 1000 crores, and the profit figure is 5 crores. Nowadays 5 crore profit is nothing. So that 5 crore, because of that net worth and turnover figures, if you compare with that, this profit, it is a very meager amount. With that, what happened is more or less every company, whether it is a private limited company, a small company, or big company, every company has to more or less spend this CSR expenditure. So this 5 crore figure, maybe MCA may consider to increase this figure at least to maybe 50 crores or like that, so that certain companies can go out of this net. Comply or explain to criminal consequences. This Ankit has already mentioned it. This has started initially that whether to spend that amount 2% of the net profits of the company. If they are not able to do it, they have to explain it in the board's reports. And no penal provisions as such were provided initially, which were provided under Companies Amendment Act 2019. There were a big furor about that, because of which that sections have been not notified yet. So definitely let us see that in the Companies Amendment Bill 2020, where that decriminalization of offences are going to take place, how they will do that decriminalization and how these sections will be amended and subsequently notified. We are yet to see that. Normal course of business also, this is a very contentious issue, that what is normal course of business, that especially what I understand is that MCA's reasoning behind this is that companies may use, companies may misuse the CSR activity to market their own goods and services and enhance its brand's value. By doing so, the company would not be required to make any payments or go out of the pocket. Company would donate substandard goods or services. These are the 3-4 things I think might be MCA is grappling with while allowing the CSR activities in the normal course of business. But the thing is, if a company which is a manufacturing of medicines, as Ankit has mentioned it, and that company is deciding to distribute that free of cost in this COVID situation, or they are going to subsidize the prices, it is technically not falling under CSR. Of course, this particular company has gone to the court and other things. That is a different one altogether. But say, for example, in case of Nestle, okay, I have been told that Nestle, if they distribute the Maggi noodles, it is not considered as a CSR. So manufacturing is a normal course of business, but free of distribution of selling or at subsidized rates, it is not in the normal course of business. To say that the company is not incurring any expenditure is also not correct, because the raw material cost will be there, the manufacturing cost will be there, the distribution cost will be there. So to say that the company is not incurring any further expenditure on that is also not correct. By providing substandard goods, no company will dare to do that, because it is going to harm their own reputation and goodwill. Maybe at one time a company may send that substandard goods or rejected goods in the name of CSR, but the media nowadays is so active, one time only they can do it, and it is going to severely damage their reputation as well as goodwill. So according to me, no company can dare to do that. So this narrow interpretation of the normal course of business may restrict the participation of corporate sector during the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So this is to be enlarged. Taxability, already Ankita has mentioned about this, so I'm not going to touch that. Now let me come to, first of all, the CSR at RIL. CSR activities of RIL are carried out under the aegis of Reliance Foundation. It is a Section 8 company which was set up in 2010 to provide impetus to various philanthropic initiatives of RIL. Reliance Foundation is a non-profit organization that aspires to change the lives and plays very important role in bettering the lives of the underprivileged. It was instituted with a vision to build stronger and inclusive India. Reliance Foundation's commitment is to enhance the quality of life of the people from marginalized to vulnerable communities. The efforts of the group have already touched the lives of more than 36 million people across India in more than 37,000 villages and several urban locations. In fact, most of the activities of foundation may not be visible in cities. If one has to understand really, they have to go to the villages and all, then only they will come to know what exactly is happening on the ground. One has to see that. Similarly, the Schedule 7 of Section 135 of the Companies Act lists various areas in which corporate entities are expected to deploy the CSR funds. And Reliance has strategically chosen the company's CSR initiatives with a focus on improving the quality of life, and accordingly, the initiatives focus on 7 areas: rural transformation, health, education, sports for development, disaster response, arts, culture and heritage, and urban renewal. Let us see what exactly has been done in these 7 areas. If you see the rural transformation, Reliance has created sustainable livelihood solutions and addressed poverty, hunger, and malnutrition. 65,500 plus hectares of land was brought under improved cultivation. That means this land was not giving earlier, the yield was not coming out. Because of that improved cultivation techniques, the yield has increased multifold. 38,500 farmers have availed trainings in agriculture and agri-allied skills since inception. There are several farmers out there who might be depending upon the conventional methods of farming only. Reliance is extending to them that the innovative and the new methodology, and similarly they are also imparting the agri-allied skills to the farmers so that they will be able to do, instead of the hard work, they are able to do smart work. 894 villages have improved access to drinking water. 9.9 plus crore cubic meter of rainwater harvesting capacity is created since inception. This is another great important thing, as under the scarcity of the water, there are several areas are there, especially places like Gujarat, Telangana and other areas where this water harvesting projects have been taken care. Coming back to the health, affordable solutions rendered for healthcare through improved accessibility and awareness. 67 lakh health consultations have been rendered. 75,000 women were diagnosed and treated for anemia. 81,500 plus children screened for malnutrition. 18,500 corneal transplants for vision care. and 100% success rate for liver transplantation programs. Coming to the education side, 2 lakh underprivileged children were provided with quality education. 43,000 students and over 1,000 teachers, they are empowered by Reliance Foundation digital classrooms. This is a new concept which is emerging at a very faster pace. 12,776 Dhirubhai Ambani scholarships were disbursed. 15,645 students in 14 are enrolled in 14 Reliance Foundation schools. Now let us see the development of sports. Reliance is doing a lot of efforts in the sports activities, especially in the rural sports, promoting sports among youth to facilitate their skills and development. 2.15 crore children reached through the sports initiative since its inception. 90 lakh children, adolescents and youth reached out through Reliance Foundation Youth Sports. 1.1 crore students engaged by integrating basketball into curriculum. 79 Reliance Foundation Young Champs scholarships awarded to develop football skills. Reliance Foundation Junior NBA scaled to 13,500 schools across 21 states and union territories. In case of disaster management, 10 lakh plus people supported with relief activities in 14 states in the aftermath of disasters. There may be earthquakes, there may be floods, any kind of disaster events takes place. Reliance used to be the first one to go and render the rescue measures. 5.6 lakh people received early warning post-disaster advisories. Technology enabled support to organizations, capacity building of 700 plus individuals for better response to emergency situations. In the field of arts and culture, protection and promotion of Indian art and culture and heritage, here also Reliance is doing a lot of activities. It supported the annual concert of Abbazi organized by Ustad Zakir Hussain. Reliance Foundation partnered with Geo Mumbai Academy of Moving Image and STAR to encourage movies and social messages. These are all certain statistics I have given in the 7 fields of activities what Reliance has done. Now let us see some of the major initiatives taken. In case of rural transformation, Reliance have leveraged artificial intelligence to develop a mobile app to provide fishermen with advisories on weather forecasts and potential fishing zones in 10 coastal languages, thereby reducing the danger as well as augmenting the livelihood of fishermen. With this, what will happen is, with this mobile app, which is there in the 10 coastal languages, means that in the whatever the language the fishermen can understand, most of the languages have been covered in this. With this mobile app, the fisherman will come to know about the weather forecast. And before he is venturing into the sea for the fishery fishery business, what he can do is he can understand the forecast maybe for the next 2-3 days or maybe for next 1 week, depending upon the requirements. Then only they will be able to venture into the sea. This is otherwise earlier what used to happen was they used to depend upon the conventional methods only while entering into the sea, which is now that because of the technical development, the technology whatever is developed, all those things have been given to the fisherman at his mobile app itself. For its initiative in improving the livelihoods of farmers, fisherfolk and livestock owners through information services, Reliance Foundation was conferred with the Golden Peacock Award for Corporate Social Responsibility in 2019. Reliance have been bestowed by several awards, which I'm not going to touch upon here. Certain awards, Pawan has already mentioned about it. Using the twin power of education and sports, Reliance Foundation seeks to empower the country's future generations. With the aim of creating a world-class institute of higher education and research in India, GI Institute is being set up by Reliance Foundation Institute of Eminence and Research. Through the sports, Reliance Foundation is encouraging learning and leadership building for children and youth across India. Through the Reliance Foundation Youth Sports Program, which provides a competition-based sporting platform for the youth, Reliance is working to improve India's performance at the Olympics and other prestigious international sporting events. Now the CSR spent already, Pawan has mentioned about it. Now, Reliance has taken a lot of initiatives during the COVID situation. Let us see some of that. First thing is the COVID hospital. To overcome the threat posed by COVID-19, Reliance has initiated a multi-pronged prevention, mitigation, and ongoing support strategy that is comprehensive, sustainable, and resilient. In a short span of just 2 weeks, Sir H.N. Reliance Foundation Hospital, in collaboration with the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, that is BMC, set up a dedicated 220-bed center of Seven Hills Hospital, Mumbai, for patients who tested positive for COVID. This is the India's first exclusive COVID-19 hospital setup with BMC. World's largest, this is Mission Anna Seva is the second major project undertaken by Reliance. World's largest meals program undertaken by any corporate foundation. Over 5 crore meals were distributed to 24 lakh beneficiaries. These are daily wagers, migrant workers, and frontline workers. Among 17 states and 1 union territory, 80 plus NGO partners helped in distribution of these meals in 78 districts, 2,400 plus volunteers and on-ground assistants. The other initiatives are 1 lakh PPE kits and masks being produced daily by Reliance, enhancing India's testing capacity. Free fuel is being given for notified emergency response vehicles, providing specialist help and advice to Gram Panchayat leaders and other community groups, giving them guidance on how to meet the challenges during the critical times. To support the migrant workers who have returned to villages, Reliance Foundation is providing knowledge and capacity building support on livelihood opportunities in farming, horticulture, animal husbandry, and fisheries. Thank you very much, and I could give a bird's eye view of what Reliance is doing exactly in the CSR field. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhakar. Thank you very much for giving a insight and how the Reliance Group is doing. It's not a question of which company. It's a indication and yardstick for other group to see this. Friends, Ankit and Sudhakar has given a detailed presentation. Now, before coming to the question answer, I just want to give some suggestions which we will pass on to the ministry, which I think, Ankit, can you just go for slides? Now, there are few suggestions. As you are aware, that why this CSR activities is important and companies are doing. Let me just explain to all of you. If you are spending some money and a big company is spending money on the same thing, then their entire department, their knowledge, their expertise includes in this. So they're spending 2% of CSR by big company give multiple effect. That's why I always support that this schedules 7, which is there, we must focus on those activities which are not on large issue like eradication of poverty. It's a very big issue. You can't control this. So the corporate should work on specific things. So their knowledge, their expertise, their marketing division, their marketing team should do. And that's why I'm giving some suggestion which we will pass on to the ministry, that need to actively utilize the managerial talent and entrepreneur passed by the corporate in CSR activity. That is one aspect which I'm saying. Individual CSR is taking more significant because it's increased the brand image. And second is ESG concept, environment, social and governance is now the new buzzword in place of governance. And the investors are putting more money on those companies which are doing on ESG. Then come to need to sensitize the company. Next, Ankit. Needs to sensitize the companies to take CSR, spend more seriously, and that's why they must focus and they should do that. MD and CEO should focus on this. They should be responsible for that expenditure. Then companies should encourage to align with CSR policy with their business model and effectively use their huge pool of experience. Next slide. Their business model effectively use the huge pool of experience. Ankit. Please, next slide, Ankit. It's not changed, just change the next slide.
Sir, I am changing.
So it is not coming.
Which slide you are viewing?
This is first, second, third. Now next slide is fourth, fifth, sixth. Next slide.
I am on fourth, fifth, sixth.
So it is not displaying here. Please, yes, now it is okay. So
Okay.
companies should encourage align with CSR policy with business model to effectively use huge pool of experienced manpower. So they should do this. Policy should be made. So the multiple effects should be there, and there is a need of revisit Schedule 7. That broader principle of holistic development should, instead of activity specific perspective approach should be there. Next slide. Yeah, contribution of PM relief fund, other fund should not be there because it is just putting money there. There's no activity. CSR mean money plus activity and the knowledge of the company combined together give a multiple impact. Corporate should be free to choose activities closest to their field and undertaking CSR activity preferably in the area territories where the government agency cannot reach and penetrate. Such activity like make a big social impact. Corporate should not enter into big large mandate for CSR where require 5 lakh crore or 2 lakh crore or 6 lakh crore rupees because it's a drop in the ocean and you can't do it. Government should come out with some slogan theme where they can say this year we will spend money on this and we will try to do this, like for example promoting rural and indigenous games or sports. Suppose we want, because if you are going to Olympic, everybody is winning gold, whether it's a cricket or it's a hockey or whether it's a archery. So there are some game where we can promote more and the corporate can do very effective role. Then there is a one most important suggestion which I want to give, that there should be an online portal and where the government can put that these are the area and the companies should put that which area they are investing, so duplicacy should be avoided. And some areas more, I've showed you the slide that 5 states are more spending more money and then other areas are not spending, which is required. So the portal should be there. Need for mechanisms for assess quality and efficiency of CSR spend should be there. Need to set up a coordinate agency should be there which can harmonize, and for this all chambers can come out and make one impact committee which can help. And a smaller company make better off by pooling resources because a smaller company small amount they cannot put at more place. Then need to bring uniformity in tax treatment to incentivize company for spending their CSR fund more judiciously. This is few suggestions which I thought we should pass on to the industry ministry.
In fact, Pawan, one or two things is that normal course of business, if they can give some good clear guidelines, that will help the industry also about that.
Yeah. So the point which you have raised, the smaller, these various like LLP is not covered, other things are not covered.
Yes.
And you are talking about
the 5 crore rupees figure. The 5 crore is too small a figure, that to become entitled.
In comparison to other figures, it is too small.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And then normal course of business is also there, and then ongoing project that is also there. So now, thank you for all giving this thing. Now I'm coming to the question answer. I have received so many questions. So my request to both the panelists, be short because we have to cover all the questions. So friends, whatever question you have sent, we will cover all questions. First question. Ankit, a company spent part of the CSR budget during the year and for balance it create provision in accounts. Whether such provision will amount to compliance with CSR provision or not.
I already mentioned this provision will not be treated as a spent amount.
Okay. Sudhakar, if you want to add, you just please add me. Okay. Under the amendment section 135, unspent CSR amount is required to be transferred to a fund. Whether the amendment has retrospective effect, requiring all unspent CSR amount since its applicability of April 2014 to be transferred, or this is only for this year?
No, I think it will be from the year in which it is introduced or notified.
Correct.
So if I have my company has an unspent amount, what I will do that?
So that unspent amount has gone. So that year has gone, the amount has gone.
Okay. In the recent FAQ on CSR release by ICI, Sudhakar, a few has expressed that 5% include administrative overhead of the implementing agency. What is your view? Ankit and Sudhakar both.
See, that 5% is, in fact, it depends upon the size of the kitty. Say, for example, for a company like Reliance, the amount what we are spending, 5% is okay. But for a small company, there should be a minimal fixed cost will be incurred definitely. So for every company, you are putting it 5%, that may not be correct. You have to give a base figure, and beyond that, you can say some ceiling is there.
But the new rules, they are spending, they are increasing 5% to 10% now. But you are
that
right.
is only for impact assessment. Sudhakar ji, another important question is, in some cases, trust also charges some fees for undertaking a specific program. So how that fees, will be part of the administrative overhead?
I think so. It is a part of administrative overheads.
It should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 5% to 10% on impact assessment that they have increased, but that is right, that 5% amount should be have some minimum amount also, because small company has problem. A company decided to undertake CSR activity through its own Section 8 companies. Can the Section 8 company undertake CSR project activity for the company partly or wholly through other NGOs? Ankit.
I don't see any issues. This can be done.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is a big question. I'll come later on. A small question I'll come. In case of loss during the year last year, whether CSR provision will be applicable for next year. The company has CSR eligibility in 2016 and thereafter can't attain eligibility because of loss and other reason. As per section 135 and CSR rules, company to spend for a continuous period of 3 years, even when business is in loss. Ankit. Yeah.
I think this is a provision which actually goes against the spirit of the section itself. Because if you are not eligible as per last year, how you can be made to spend the CSR expenditure for 3 years once you are covered? I don't think rule can overrule. But I think one of the objectives of that rule is also to continue the constitution of the CSR committee, I think, but it does not mandate incur of CSR expenditure. What's your view, Sudhakarji?
So you see that definitely that up to 3 years they have to spend the money also, provided that previous 3 years average profits. Okay, in that profits, what happened is the moment you start incurring the losses, the amount what you have to spend will come down definitely. But it is a kind of this thing that I'm incurring loss, but I have to spend some money. Yes, as on date it is there. You have to spend money.
Okay. Okay. Ankit, what are the documents need to be received first from the NGO before paying CSR fund by the company?
I think documents will be registration certificate, balance sheet for purpose of assessment of their financial health, the project details, where the amount will be incurred, past history.
Okay. A Sudhakar, semi-aid or non-aid school working at very small fees from a children eligible for getting CSR fund.
Yes, why not? That say that suppose, for example, if a small school is there, that Reliance can go and adopt the school, and then we can definitely render the whatever the education this thing is there. We can do like that, no problem.
Okay. Ankit, a company which spent part of the budget towards CSR during the year and for balance it created provision in the accounts. Whether such provision does
already discussed.
Okay. Sudhakar, the profit which is only account as per income tax purpose is an exempt income. Whether the company would be liable to do CSR activities on it as prescribed under 135 of Companies Act.
Not required. You will go as per your balance sheet only, not for as for your tax purposes.
Okay. Ankit, if the company decide to undertake the CSR activity through its own Section 8 company, can the Section 8 company undertake 100% CSR project for the company through other NGOs? Views are required to be
discussed.
So what is the answer?
Yes, it can. Yeah.
Okay. What may be the reason 40% companies not spending required amount through CSR, Sudhakar?
See, there are two reasons. Number one, that liquidity crunch may be there, and number two, they might not be finding proper projects. Also, they might not be having the bandwidth. They don't trust other companies, through which they have to spend the money. That might be the one reason, according to me. Otherwise, there is no reason as such.
Okay, but there's just some.
Second thing is, any voluntary people happy, but the moment you put it mandatory, they resist.
Okay, but there is a issue that ongoing project concept they are introducing now in the amendment. So the ongoing concept is also not clear earlier. So that's why there is a possibility ongoing project is going on. That's why their money is lying there, unspent. Okay.
Yeah.
Ankit, please throw some light on how company can contribute to CSR activity if the contribution have been made in kind and not in cash. So in place of giving cash, I'm
The
giving.
amount spent on the kind can be calculated for the purpose of CSR.
Sudhakar, you have any different view?
You have to spend CSR in cash only. You cannot spend in kind.
Okay. If a company X supplies raw material to company Y and thereafter company Y turns the supplies raw material into finished goods and donate the product for CSR, can company X claim the money spent in raw material as a CSR contribution?
I don't think so.
Ankit, you?
Sir, I missed the question actually.
Okay, Sudhakar, for you, this is it is not allowed. Okay, a corporate foundation having unspent CSR fund from previous year on which they have already been availed tax benefit. Can this unspent CSR fund be given to any implementation agency, sub-grant to execute a project, or they need to spend the unspent directly by their own foundation? Sudhakar.
See, any CSR money, they don't need to spend directly. They can spend through any trust and all, which are qualified. Say, for whether it is a Section 8 company or a trust which is having expertise in that particular line for the last 3 years or so, they can spend through them also, no issue.
Okay. Ankit, how the amount will be quantified in CSR criteria in case of free education? You have told that if it is not an ordinary course
So
and the free course.
the normal fee that is being charged for the giving tuitions will be the cost. If I am charging X student 100 rupees and I am giving you the same class for free, the cost of 100 rupees is the cost of the CSR.
Sudhakar, you have any view, different view?
See, I don't have any different views. Say, for example, if I am going to lift the expenditure of the teachers' salaries and all those things, and the education is similarly, if I am going to construct a school as such, I am incurring capital expenditure also as well as the revenue expenditure, and imparting the education to the downtrodden people. It is very much comes under the CSR.
Okay. Okay. Ankit,
let me add only one thing. As far as the capital expenditure is concerned, if any company is incurring capital expenditure for CSR purpose, it can show it in the balance sheet in the assets form, but they have to identify that as CSR asset. Suppose CSR building, CSR vehicles, whatever it is and all, they cannot claim any depreciation on that.
Okay. Ankit, what if the company has given CSR donation to an organization which is registered for less than 3 years? What are the consequences?
So they have defaulted. They were not eligible to undertake that CSR activity. So it's a default of the funds.
Okay. An IT company distributing.
I want to add only one thing here. See that though that company is not having a track record of 3 years as such, if a company has really genuinely spent money, if they can establish it tomorrow, the rigor of the non-compliance may definitely come down. It is only a technicality, that's it.
Definitely.
Okay. Ankit, if then an IT company distributing ebook and business ebook makes sale to a trust where company promoter are having 25% control and the company also showing as receivable from the trust, does this will CSR activity for section 135?
Why it is not a CSR activity? The trust might be a related party under a Companies Act or accounting standard. You have to take necessary approvals if it fits into their criteria. But there is no such bar that if the promoters have any interest, you cannot undertake activity through their trust or entity.
Okay, one question has come, Sudhakar, on your point, higher percentage up to 15% should be allowed for CSR contribution to be applied towards meeting administrative overhead expenditure. This is a suggestion somebody has given. So I think not the 15% because for this will be opposite.
Percentage. I am talking about the base minimal expenditure to incur the administrative cost. Beyond that, some kind of percentage.
Okay, Ankit, can holding company make CSR expenditure out of its consolidated profit on behalf of its subsidiary company?
No.
No. During COVID, Sudhakar, during COVID-19, amount spent on below mentioned activity will be qualified as CSR paying migrant labor, donating PPE kit, donating ventilator, pharma company donating vaccine once developed.
All these will fall under that Schedule 7 definitely. Whatever the things you have mentioned they are eligible for CSR.
Okay. Ankit, who will be checking
the different buckets? That's it.
Okay. Ankit, who will be checking calculation of net profit under section 198 for the purpose of section 135, like statutory auditor or secretarial auditor?
I think secretarial auditor will very much be checking, and I think from this year the new PARO is applicable, where the statutory auditor has also give their comment on the compliance of section 135. So they will also be checking. So both will be checking.
Okay. Sudhakar, would merely transferring the amount to be spent on CSR to a trust, section 8, be considered as CSR spend, or does that organization need to actually spend that amount and report back to the same?
Two reasons, two things for that. Number one, that if there is an ongoing project is there and you are giving the money to the trust, then it is okay. But if there is no ongoing project, simply you are depositing with the trust is not spending the money, it is a non-compliance.
Okay. Okay. As per Ankit, as per MCFAQ, whether contribution in kind is permissible as CSR or not, section 135 prescribes.
As per FAQs, they have not very specifically said, as sir mentioned, they have said the amount needs to be spent.
Okay. Whether CS professional can be the CSR impact audit, if not, what examination to be passed for which body? For
no such
impact
regulation is in force.
So I think ICSI is doing some examination that you can qualify.
Certificate
but there is no eligibility from government side that this is voluntary. Okay. Acha, when any company not complying with the CSR rules and or not spending 2%, can I mention such qualification from MGT 7 in case I am certifying from a PCS of a company?
If certifying, I think if you are giving an MGT 8 and the company has disclosed the reason for non-expenditure, I think they are in compliance. Where is the problem?
Okay.
Second thing, I want to just add one thing. If the company has given the reason in its board's report for non-expenditure, for non-incurring the expenditure, nobody can question that except the regulator may ask. That's it. Otherwise, PCS cannot question at the time of secretarial audit that why that reason given is not justified, not bona fide. All those things cannot be questioned. That is the board's prerogative.
Okay. Now, because we have crossing the time, so I will be starting rapid round. So please be short and specific. Okay. Whether the whole amount of CSR be given to a registered NGO, Ankit?
Depends, you can give the whole amount, you can, yes.
Okay. Whether all the activity of CSR will allow company for income tax benefit or not? Sudhakar, there's no. Can a company donating for research to find corona vaccine claim that donation as CSR? Ankit?
I think it can. I don't see an issue.
Okay. Sudhakar, can now one by one. If I'm asking one question, then Sudhakar you will give, then Ankit. Okay. So I will not pass on. Okay, Sudhakar, I'm starting with you. Can we contribute to any trust situated anywhere in India?
They have to qualify. Then you can do it.
Okay, but trust should be as per the government rules. Okay, Ankit. Donation to an individual for cancer treatment be considered as CSR activity? Individual person.
It can be.
Okay, Sudhakar, you have a different view?
Yes, I don't think that if you are giving it to one person for treatment, it will not come under the health.
Yeah, that it will not be. But if it's a part of a project.
Correct.
Okay. Acha, expenditure incurred during one legislation, but such legislation envisages that such expenditure can be incurred under CSR if the company is profit making. Hence, we understand it. In that case, the FAQ regarding expenditure incurred under other statute would not be violated. Please
it will not come under CSR because suppose, for example, under the Environment Act, if you have to incur some expenditure for a particular purpose and you are incurring for that you cannot claim it as a CSR expenditure.
Anything which is regulatory point of view you are spending, you cannot do. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Acha, Ankit, is there any study given list of non-compliant company? I think there is. I think no. Okay, Sudhakar, the management of company spends some amount without putting the matter in CSR committee. Is there any way of regularize it?
You can, that board, see, even the management committee can ratify that, otherwise the board can ratify that always. There should not be a problem.
Okay. Ankit, NBFC company receiving dividend from other companies, whether be deductible by calculating, I think this is something different. Is it necessary to have policy for the purpose of making expenditure if the company is not qualifying under criteria provided in section 135?
A company has to have a CSR policy, and that whatever the expenditure is there, it should be in pursuance to the policy only.
Okay, Ankit, how can we get to know where to approach for CSR fund for research activity?
So there are a lot of research agencies like Institute of Science in Bangalore or ICMR. There are a lot of such bodies which undertake such research. You can get in touch with these agencies.
Okay, Sudhakar, in case of failure of spent CSR, whether provision of section 450 will be applicable?
It can be triggered.
Okay, Ankit, do you have any view?
As sir earlier mentioned, if you've explained, then it will not be triggered.
Okay, now Ankit, is it necessary the CSR funding should be spent within the same state?
Not necessary.
Okay, Sudhakar, do we need to mention? Do we need to monitor once we spend? Suppose we donate 1 crore for education, do we need to ensure it is spent for
Yes,
it?
it is the responsibility of the CSR committee to monitor the expenditure.
Okay, Ankit, as per the 135, the company is required to spend 2% of average profit of last 3 years. In case of expenditure has incurred more than 5% of profit, whether shareholder is required and shareholder approval is required under section 181.
If you are if under 181, it specifically only covers contribution to charitable and bona fide funds. If you are incurring expenditure, otherwise, I think there is no such provision. Sudhakar ji, any other view? If I am going beyond 5%?
Okay.
I see
Okay.
that should go. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Sudhakar, if the group has a whole is spending on CSR activity, then can the individual company can claim exemption on the basis of saying that when group is spending, so individual company are not spending.
It cannot. It cannot.
It's an individual basis.
Every company has to do it.
Ankit, a company under CIRP process has to comply with the provision of section 135 or not?
There is no exemption.
But how the company will spend, because that has gone to RP. RP is dividing, and
the RP will decide. RP is the de facto board.
Explained in the board's report.
Or explained in the board report.
So the question is, which CRP company is there which has profit and turnover and the net worth also? That is very.
That's explained in the board's report.
But in case RP has to explain if it is not spending. Yes. Ankit has stated that we can claim tax exemption if we contribute to Prime Minister Relief Fund. Please confirm.
Yes, you can.
No, tax exemption. Tax exemption can you take?
Yes, if you contribute to such funds, there is tax exemption allowed under the Income Tax Act.
If you are going for CSR, then it is not allowed. But if you are going for PM Relief Fund, then you can take the tax exemption.
So PM Relief Fund is also eligible as a CSR activity.
Okay, okay. What is the current status of total unspent CSR fund lying with the corporate?
No such information available.
Okay. If the company has given explanation for not spending the full amount of CSR as mandated under Companies Act, can ROC still initiate legal proceedings stating that it is not satisfied with the reason in the director report? If yes, the penalty will be under section 134 or under residuary clause.
I don't think penalty can be initiated. While we as mentioned, MCA has sent notices to a lot of companies seeking information on why they have spent. They are looking into the reasons. Sir, but what if company is not able to justify the reason mentioned, that they have actually mentioned that they have evaluated the activities, but they are not able to give any evidence for such kind of a thing? Will it not amount to misrepresentation?
Sudha.
ROC has issued show cause notices, and I have been told that they have also filed cases against some companies. According to them, the explanation given in the board's report is not sufficient or justified. So those companies have to contest the matter, and we cannot say whether it can do, whether ROC can do it or not, because they can always do it. Matter is to be contested and decided by the courts.
Okay, so the sponsorship, I think sponsorship of medical treatment to an individual would qualify CSR expenditure. Answer is no. Okay.
Yeah.
Under CSR money, can company buy COVID-19 test kit and use it for employee? Will it consider as CSR, Ankit?
Employee के लिए नहीं, it will not be.
Okay. Can I do voluntary CSR contribution even my company does not fall under 135? If yes, whether shareholder approval required or only through board? I'm not eligible.
If it is within the limit of that 5% and all for the donation and other things, that company can do it with the permission of the board itself.
Okay, but now new law is providing that how you can do it if you are exceeding the percentage.
Yeah. If CSR is not applicable to you, that fall under the charity and donation. For charity and donation under 181, whatever the limits you have, if you are exceeding it, you need shareholders' approval. Otherwise, board can do it.
Sudhakar, is 80G and 12A certificate is mandatory for giving CSR money to NGO? The NGO should be registered under 80G.
Not that is for tax purpose. That is a different thing. CSR is different, and your 80G is different.
Okay. Ankit, suppose the corporate has transferred the requisite CSR fund to any foundation to spend the amount to activities under Schedule 7. At the closure of financial year, if it was found that there is some unspent CSR fund lying in the foundation and it is expected to be spent in next financial year, does foundation need to give back the unspent money to the corporate, or they can keep it?
No, they can keep it as per the even. This is the fundamental issue, but as per the MCFE, once you contribute, it is deemed as spent. So the unspent amount can be used by the trust or NGO in next year, but for the purpose of company, you can say you have spent the amount.
Okay, Sudhakar, is education expenditure incurred for the employee of the company is a CSR?
No.
If the CSR, if the employee salary is very low and the suppose the some employee is very poor and you are giving some.
If your project is exclusively for your employees, whether they are poor or rich, if it is project is exclusively for employees, it will not qualify for CSR. If it is for anybody and everybody, it will qualify for CSR. If it is anybody and everybody, including your employees, no issue.
Okay. Ankit, private limited company inadvertently not spent CSR in year 18-19. Can they carry forward the same and expend it on 19-20?
That is discretionary, and that is up to them to spend. But if they have not given the reasons for last year, then it will be a default.
Okay.
I will add only one thing here. See that suppose if you are not able to spend it inadvertently and next year you are spending it, this year a board report you explain it. This will be suppose tomorrow if ROC initiate an action, you have at least you can substantiate your matter. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Ankit, if I am holding the land and transfer the same for CSR project, can I capitalize the cost of the land and treat the cost of land as CSR? Land will be with me only in that CSR project.
If
this can be shown as I told you already that in case of a CSR capital expenditure is there, companies can incur that. You can continue to show it as your asset, but you have to identify it as a CSR asset specifically. And on that, if it is a depreciable asset, you cannot claim any depreciation.
Okay, so it means you are donating, then that will be the project, that will be the cost of that project.
Yes.
Or they will be owned. Okay. Ankit, companies spending voluntarily as CSR which are not mandatory to spend, does it fall under spending shareholders fund? Very interesting. Sudhakar, Ankit.
I couldn't get the question.
No, they're saying companies are spending voluntarily. Suppose there's no need to spend, or companies are spending more money than that is required. So the person is asking, does it fall under spending shareholders fund?
No,
Sir,
no,
I think under, as mentioned 181, you have been given the right to spend up to 5%. So
Correct.
there
if
is
I
already a provision.
percent, then I have to go to shareholder.
If
Yeah.
you're going beyond 5%, then you can go to shareholder.
The point, the question which is answering is right, that if you are spending within the limit, no need. If you are spending more than the limit, then you are spending shareholders fund. You have to ask shareholders. Okay.
Yes.
Is it mandatory to carry forward the unspent amount to next year?
Not required.
As sir said, it is not necessary, but you can carry forward and spend to make a better case.
Okay.
Correct.
Whether CS professional can do the CSR impact audit, if not, what examination he has to pass?
Sir, हो चुका है. Already raised discussion.
It is if a X company is acquired by company, what if by company has not complied in past with the CSR? Will X company be liable?
Obviously, whoever is running the company, they will be liable. Because the company is not getting evaporated. The company is continuing.
Okay. So I think I have given all the answer except 2-3 questions which were very big, that we will give separate answer to all of you. We have exceeded time also, but we try to give all the questions, 50-55 questions which we have received, to give answers. Some questions were duplicate, so we have tried to merge the questions. So I think thank you very much to all panelists. Thank you very much to all the person who has participated. In case your question is not answered, please send it back to us. We will immediately reply. Or in case your some questions are still pending, because the answer which Sudhakar and Ankit has given, you may not clear, or you think there is a much more you require understanding, you can write to us. We will give reply. So thanks, friend. Now, in the our same knowledge sharing initiative, we are working out the next webinar on Friday. The coming Friday, we are having program on, that is on 31st, on AIF, Alternative Investment Fund, and we will invite people from capital market, and we will give you the what is the AIF, what are the advantages as compared to other mode, compared to NBFC, that will do. And then next Friday, okay, that is 8th, we are having another program on income tax, and that is a very interesting topic. Income and deemed dividend we are covering, because various companies are facing problem. The income tax has given section 56 is applicable to all types of things. So the company is facing, and especially listed companies are facing when they are doing transaction. So we have invited Amit Mohan Govil, the income tax additional secretary on ministry, and then Rakesh Gupta, my partner, and R.K. Agarwal ji. They will discuss, and one more income tax commissioner we will invite. So I think these are our knowledge sharing initiative is continued, and we will do this. For today's program, immediately we are sending our presentation to all the participants, those who have participated today, and then we will put it on the website as well as on YouTube channel. You can view that and you can share this presentation. So thank you very much, Sudhakar, for
Thanks
sparing
very
your
much,
valuable.
Pawan, and thanks corporate professionals for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
God
Ankit.
bless.
Thank you all
Thank you.
attending, all delegate, though have patiently understand this topic, raise their questions and participated. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ankit, Zoom पे आओ.